What's up guys, Sanjay Shinoy here from Team Pixel Track and welcome to this brand new video in the Content Marketing Mastery course. Before we go ahead with this video, let's do a quick recap of the previous video. In case you haven't watched the previous video, please go watch the previous video because it's so important for you to understand how to market your content. Let me tell you what we covered in the previous video. First up, we understood what a funnel was, basically what the journey your prospect takes from becoming a prospect into a customer, probably into an advocate of your brand, of your product or your service. And we understood what the funnel is, how it is structured, and how you can engineer it completely using different types of content for each stage of the funnel. And also we saw different channels where that particular content will be extremely effective. So I have also given a downloadable Excel sheet which you can download right off and just use it to understand what kind of content you can create for the top of the funnel, for the middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel. So those are different types of content. Now what we are talking about is what are the different variations of content, what kinds of content can you create when it comes to any kind of content creation. So I have opened up a few examples along with the types of or the variations of content that you can create. So let me just quickly jump into my Chrome browser and show you all the blogs, all the variations of content you can create for your own blog. And I'm pretty sure by the end of this video, you will have at least 15 new ideas for your content for your blog or for your YouTube channel. So let's get started. Okay, the first variation of content you can create is a how-to blog or a guide. This is an example of my own blog. I have written how to get 1 million visitors to your personal blog. So it needs to be a very detailed guide and detailed instructional information as to how your prospective customer can achieve something that they're looking for. So they always have this. So this becomes extremely top of the funnel content, and you are literally talking about a problem and a prospective solution to your customer. But keep in mind that especially a how-to blog or a guide blog it can be ridiculously long because you might have to go really deep. I don't know, I think this is 4,000 word content. I'm not really sure. So yeah, you might want to it's just never ending. I wrote a long post and it really helps. And a lot of people actually went all the way through and look at the kind of comments that I've got about 39 comments. So when you're writing a how-to blog, make sure that you go really deep into the topic and also try to go as wide as possible also, and connect all of these dots for your users. And once they see a detailed guide for anything, for that matter, it can be anything in any industry, someone is looking on how to do XYZ, just that, figure out what is that how-to blog or that guide blog in your industry for your blog and go ahead and write a how-to blog. Next up is a listicle or a list blog. I don't think, especially in the Indian scene, nobody else writes listicles better than Pradeep Goyal. He runs a blog called Cash Overflow. Give it a check, and this is basically a good example for a listicle. And of course, listicles were made really famous by your BuzzFeeds and your Scoop Whoops and all of that. And that kind of shows why listicles, or why you shouldn't ignore listicles, and how powerful listicles can really be. And I mean, I can literally go ahead and say that they kind of built these companies like BuzzFeed and your Scoop Whoop, mostly driven by listicle kind of articles. So listicles are really effective, primarily because you are mentioning a number in your title, or you're indicating that there are X number of things that you will take away from this particular blog. In this case, it's 11 ways to improve credit score. So I know exactly what I'm looking for, and since it's quantified as to what are my takeaways, it makes it very tempting for a user to click on that title and actually write it. So one thing that you have to remember, I think this is pretty much the case with every variation of content, but especially with this variation, You need to ensure that you set the expectation right. And if you're saying that you have X number of ways to do XYZ, you need to meet that expectation with like 11 solid points or 10 solid points or how many ever points it is. If it is like a 9.5 point, don't do it. Just say it's 9 points. And if it doesn't meet that expectation, what happens is it comes into the category of a clickbait article. Now, you wouldn't want something like that to happen. People will lose trust in your particular blog, in your particular content, so you might not want to do that. So, but listicles are extremely good. In my own career too, while I was working in Trilophilia and Explorer, I have completely explored listicles, so to speak, and it has been extremely useful for me, and it's been extremely effective in attracting like really good traffic. So the next type of or a variation of blog is, the reason why I'm saying variation and not type is because we already spoke of different types of content you can create. I don't want you to get confused. So this is variations of content you can create. Anyway, so the third variation is a resource page or a resource blog. Now, Ty Lopez is someone I follow personally. Some people find him eccentric. Whatever it is, I think he's doing whatever he has to do. But check out his this particular page, which is tylopez.com/books. What he has done is he's basically created a blog of all the books that he recommends. So what people call this a resource blog post, and I think this guy has done it really, really well. And also what you need to understand is when you click on it, it takes you to the particular book's full review. Like, this is pretty amazing. Like, he has written a review for each of these books, and you can do the same thing in your particular industry. You can create a blog post of all the resources that might be useful for your customers and create that link. And you can go one step further, like how Ty Lopez has done, and create a separate post for all of these resources. You can review them. You can say what's good, what's not good, and all of those things. So this is a great way to do it. People love a resource library. People love it when somebody like puts all of these things together and posts it on a blog. The fourth one is a checklist, and who better to do it than Mr. Brian Dean from Backlinko. And this is like a 2019 SEO checklist, and he's like done a great job. Now again, he has done a inception kind of thing here, because this checklist post has smaller checklist posts. So basically SEO basics checklist, keyword research checklist, and he has like clubbed all of these two things together and made it into one SEO checklist. So again, for your blog, I'm pretty sure you can create a cheat sheet, you can create a downloadable checklist of all the things that is necessary to achieve a particular goal. So it might be 4 things, 5 things, 10 things, whatever, how many ever number of things that you might want to put in the checklist, doesn't matter. People really appreciate when you put things together and they have something to refer to when they're getting things done, and they can just like refer to this checklist you have created and just go tick and like done. People really appreciate that. So create a checklist, and you can also use this as a lead magnet if you want to, and like make it into your middle of the funnel content if you want to. Next up is a review post. We spoke about this in the Ty Lopez also, if you go and like check out the review. And I think Kulwant Nagi from bloggingcage.com, great guy. You guys should follow Kulwant Nagi. If you don't, I love his journey. I love what he has done. And if you ever feel that your command over English is not so great, and you're not like capable of being a blogger, you should totally listen to Kulwant Nagi's story. It's just amazing what he has done with such. He had a hard time. Anyway, that's a story for another time. But look at the kind of blogs he writes. He writes like really good, nice reviews about tools, about resources in the digital marketing space. You can also do the same thing in your own space for your blog. Basically review what is your opinion on a certain thing, and keep in mind that the more true you are in your opinion, the more people will trust you. You shouldn't be writing a review just with an intention to attract traffic. Now that is not going to help. That kind of like gives away the vibe that you're just doing this to get like some affiliate commission or something like that. Don't give away that vibe. Actually put in that effort to show people what you think about a particular service or a product or anything for that matter. So that is a review. And something that I like is when people talk about really controversial and conventional topics. Say, for example, this one which Deepak wrote very recently: you can't build a profitable startup without debt. Now, the kind of, I mean, you need to read this blog post to understand what kind of a debt is talking about. But the moment people see that, they'll be taken aback, because there is a certain conventional thought about a particular topic. Now, what you should do is should come out there and break it for them. You need to break that perception that people have. But having said that, you really need to do a very convincing job for them to like actually get convinced with your perspective, with your point of view. Otherwise, it's not going to fly. It's going to backfire terribly. Like, but having said that, I'll give you a very good example. When I was working in Trophilia, we wrote this blog post called I don't know, 30 countries you can do within a budget of rupees 50,000 or something like that. We wrote, and people they went crazy. We basically just put down a list of all the countries that they can go to and said that, hey, these are the countries you can actually do. And there's Dubai, there's Thailand, and all those things. And people they went crazy in the comments. They're like, are you out of your mind? Like, how can you like expect us to like go to Dubai in 50,000 or whatever it is? And then me and my team got back, and like we actually edited the article and said that for each city or for each country, we gave a detailed plan of how they can actually do it in 50,000. Now, once we did that, that blog post became super viral. It just like broke the internet types, because it was very unconventional. Nobody ever thought about bringing in a perspective like that. And when we brought it, like people were like, wow, okay, I never thought that you could actually do all of these things. Next up is an interview post. I'm sure there are plenty of people in your industry who you can interview and who's looking to talk to people and all of that. Like, people love interviews, trust me. People love to like be spoken to. People love to be listened to, all of those things. So you can reach out to any of your top guys in your industry and tell them that you're going to interview. You can do a text interview, as you can see here, which Anil Agarwal has done for Deepak. And I have also given a lot of interviews, and I've taken a lot of interviews too. So very easy way to generate content, very easy way to get a perspective about a particular topic or an industry from a peer, or probably from an industry leader too. So, and also when you associate yourself with other people, it really helps your brand. It's like branding by association. When you interview a certain person, your audience is going to think that, hey, this is amazing that he's actually reaching out to these people and like interviewing all of these guys. So it kind of like gives you that authority, that credibility in your customers' eyes. So let's find out what's the next one. Yeah, I'm talking about a guest post here, and this is like a cross guest post. If you check it out, basically Pradeep has written this blog post, but he's written it about Deepak. So it's actually Pradeep's guest post about Deepak. But having said that, it's got like a lot of shares and all that. So this is why I wanted to share it with you. He's basically interviewed Deepak and like shared how to like do certain things. So Deepak has spoken about the business that we have and like what we are doing with our business and all of those things. So anyway, again, like guest posts is something that you can do. Reach out to blogs or YouTube channels in your industry and say that, hey, you can create content, and just pick one of these things and like go out there and create an amazing piece of content specifically meant for that particular blog's audience. And they will love to have, I mean, nobody will say no to content as long as it's good content. And the moment you do that, you build this relationship with other bloggers, other guys or content creators in your industry, and it just becomes amazing for you. So that's that very, very easy way to like create like a ton of content is like doing an expert roundup. As you can see, Ahrefs has done here 90 experts, talk white hat link building, outsourcing, and scaling. So basically, you reach out to a bunch of guys and ask them what their opinion is about a particular thing. So in this case, it was please tell us about your favorite white hat link building strategy that scales and how do you scale it. That's about it. Look at all the guys they like managed to rope in. There are like 90 guys out there, and they basically have written about 100 200 words of content each one of them. Now that's a lot of words. That's like and look at this post. It's like humongous. So easily like an 18 20,000 word uh, piece of content, absolutely crowdsourced for you, and such an authoritative, such a massive piece of content created by experts for free for you. Nothing would beat that. So an expert roundup is like the easiest way to like create content. You can probably do it every quarter or like every 6 months, and like ask them about certain opinions. um, Again, people love to be heard. So if you go reach out to people, it need not have to be like a massive influencer. Also, you can just like reach out to your audience too, or your peers, or whatever it is. This is one of my favorite too. Income reports or status reports. You might not be very comfortable doing an income report, sharing with people, but you can just share like how your blog is doing in terms of traffic, how many blog posts you created, all of those things. Just sharing what you are doing on the blog with your audience creates that deeper sense of connection with your audience. Or you can do what Anil Agarwal is done here, is basically create a list of all the income reports for all the blogs. So which is amazing. So you can do this also. You can do this every month. So one piece of content is taken care of for you. And data. So if you have access to any kind of data or statistics, and when you like put all of these things together beautifully, nothing like attracts you links, and nothing like attracts mentions like that. So basically, we recently tied up with your story, and we had done like survey within our group, which is the Learn Digital Marketing group, and we did a survey on like a bunch of digital marketing related stuff, and we understood what our audience wants, and we are like, hey, this information is so amazing that someone else might also be interested. We reached out to your story, they were like, this is great, and they went ahead and published it. So if you have access to any kind of data or statistics about your industry, or anything for that matter, go out there, collect it, articulate it, structure it in a way that people will find it very easy and useful to consume, and actually can draw insights from it. The moment you do that, people will be very attracted to that piece of content. The next one is all about your personal opinion and anecdotes, and who better can like talk about this than Gary Vaynerchuk. Gary V, if you don't follow Gary V, I strongly suggest you follow Gary V. I think he's like the king of everything content. Like, he's like super good, he's like super hardworking. And look at this. This is his personal opinion. This is what he keeps telling and advocating everywhere. Stop living for the weekend. This was published just 3 days ago. And it's amazing how your personal opinion and your perspective about something so simple, which is like stop living for the weekend, can be so impactful, and like people will actually like relate to you and resonate with your thoughts. And again, what you need to do, you need to understand that when you put your personal opinion out there about something, what you're doing is you're polarizing your audience. Now, what I mean is polarizing, you're actually dividing your audience by saying that, hey, this is my opinion, and a good percentage of it will agree with you, and a greater percentage might disagree with you. But that is very important for you to have, and you need to be accepting of both perspectives and try to empathize with both perspectives and understand what they are saying. So whenever you're putting something about your personal opinion about something, especially if it's controversial, be ready to like polarize your audience and attract like two different kinds of feedback from your audience. And one of the other things is industry news. I think Amit Agarwal from LabNoll does this amazing. So basically, any kind of update from any kind of services that people have or use, he basically writes about it. He says what's new in that, what's the new update, how can you do it better, and all of those things. So if you want to like stay on top of the game on your industry, you can set up like Google alerts and go ahead and like make sure that you're top of the game in your industry, and just cover on the industry news. You can just say that, hey, this is what's happening in the entire industry, and this is what I think about it. That's it. And the more you do it, the more people will start following you for the same thing. Of course, then there's case study. Again, who better to show you how to do it than Brian Dean? The SEO case study, how I increased my organic traffic by 652% in 7 days. Now, the thing is, with case studies, you actually need to have some stuff to show to your audience. You can't just make up a case study. So, and this is a great way to create amazing content. And whatever happens with your experiment, you can just document it and put it out there. That is what a case study is. So you shouldn't approach a case study with a particular outcome in mind. You need to approach a case study by saying that, hey, I'm going to do this, and while I'm going to do this, I'm going to document it and see what happens. And you never know. So whatever happens, you document it and then show it to your audience, and people will be like, hey, this is also something that happens. This can also be done. Or probably you can you might be concurring with something which is actually obvious out there. It's just validating it for yourself or your audience or your audience. So that also. So when it comes to case studies are basically small experiments that you do. I suggest you do few experiments at a given time on your blog or in your industry and see what kind of reactions you're getting, and just document it and put it on your blog. Then there's the FAQs that you can talk about, the last one. Simple FAQs in your, what are the most frequently asked questions in your industry, which can be useful for your audience. Easiest tool to do that is Answer the Public. So go ahead and see what kind of questions people have in their mind, and just ask people sometimes. Sometimes when you ask people, you'll see that there is you'll start recognizing that pattern that a lot of people are asking the same questions over and over again. For this, you need to do a lot of talking, or you can also do your keyword research or your Answer the Public and get a lot of information regarding certain questions in people's mind. So, so once you have these repetitive questions, make question answer frequently asked question post like this and put it on your blog. As simple as that. So that is all the different variations of content you can create. Again, here I've given you only textual content examples, but there is nothing stopping you from putting this in the form of a video, putting this in the form of an infographic, whatever it is. So all of these variations can be put to all of these different formats of content, which we'll be talking about in the next video. See, I've given you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So there are 15 different variations. That's 15 different topics for you. And if you convert this 15 different topics into different formats, you just created 30 different pieces of content for your blog. I mean, this is very basic stuff. You don't need to do any kind of keyword research, anything. Without doing all of those things, you have 15 different variations of content that you can create. Go out there and see how you can create the same kind of content for within your industry, and how you can bring value to your customers by doing that. See, these are the different kinds of, why are these different variations of content out there? Why is it only these kind of variations work? Because this has been tested in various different industries and various different verticals, and it seemed to attract the most traffic, and it seems to convert the most traffic, and it's very SEO friendly and all of that. So even if you just follow these 15 variations and not try to reinvent the wheel, even then you are sorted. If you're someone who writes one blog post per week, I think you're sorted. If you just create this 15 different variations, you are set for the next 3 to 4 months, and that's amazing, right? You might not want to complain that I don't have enough things to write about. So there you go. So these are the different variations of content you can create. Go out there and think about how you can fit all of these variations into your industry and into your blog, and you'll get so many different ideas for content. Now, once you have those ideas, go back to the previous videos and see how you can do your keyword research, your user personas, how to validate your content, and how to go about writing that particular content. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you think of this video, and you can either write your feedback in the comment section below or write me an email at sanjay@pixeltrack.in. Thank you very much, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.